Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to make a keto or low carb lemon blueberry bread. Quickly, I'll read off the ingredients shown here in no particular order. I have some Philadelphia cream cheese, butter, salt, some eggs, apple cider vinegar, olive oil, lemon. We will use the zest and the actual lemon. We're going to use some pure vanilla extract. I do have a heaping cup of blueberry shown there. Some heavy whipping cream, some almond flour, I have some baking powder, some baking soda, and then not shown at the moment is some confectioner's sugar. Now, of course, there are several different keto-friendly confectioner sugars out there on the market now. Swerve, I believe, is what they use in the original recipe, but I have some monk fruit sweetener that I did go ahead and put into my NutriBullet, which I'm showing here, and I went ahead and made that into a confectioner sugar. Getting started into the recipe, I'm going to start with my dry ingredients, and to my bowl, I will go ahead and add 2.5 cups of the almond flour. I get my almond flour from Sam's Club. I know that Walmart sells it, places like Costco sells it. I know there are several other different places that sell it, but that's where I do get mine. I really enjoy the almond flour that they offer there, so that's where I have been getting it. And it seems to be the most cost-effective compared to other ones that I have found. So anyway, into my bowl, we are going to put 2.5 cups of the almond flour. Next, I'll go ahead and add my 1 teaspoon of baking powder, followed by my 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Next, I'm going to take my lemon, and I have a little tool here that I'm using on it, and I'm going to use the zest of 1 lemon. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that into my dry ingredients as well. You can also reserve some of that zest to put on top of your frosting later. And then I almost forgot to show you that I did add my 2/3 cup of confectioner sugar. Again, I used monk fruit sweetener, and I pulverized that in my NutriBullet. I added that to my dry ingredients and gave it a good mix with a whisk. So next, in a separate bowl, we're going to get started on our wet ingredients. To my bowl, I have added 2 eggs, and then I added a 1/2 cup plus 1 additional tablespoonful of heavy whipping cream. Now this recipe actually calls for milk or coconut milk, but regular milk is not low carb friendly. If you wanted to swap this out for almond milk or cashew milk, I'm sure you could do that as well. I actually added a little bit of water to my heavy cream just so that I didn't have to use all heavy cream, just to make it, you know, a little less calorie dense. So that's what I did, but feel free to use coconut milk, almond milk, cashew milk, whatever the case. There I added my apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoonful, and then next I am going to go ahead and add 2 teaspoons full of pure vanilla extract to my dish as well. Also do want to remind you that I will link this recipe below. This recipe I found on Pinterest. This is not my own. I tweaked it a little bit, but I will put the original link to the recipe below. All right, so next we are going to add our fresh lemon juice. A little trick that I learned years ago is if you take and roll a lemon on a hard surface, it actually really helps kind of get the juices flowing so that when you cut into it, it will definitely make it easier for you to squeeze the lemon juice out. So I went ahead and I did that, and we're going to use about 2.5 tablespoons full of the lemon juice. Just be careful when you're squeezing it into the bowl, not to get any seeds in it. I was pretty careful about it. Usually I'll try to squeeze the lemon to where it's facing kind of upward, and as I can see there, I did end up getting a seed in there. So just whatever method you have that will help you, squeeze out that lemon juice and not get the seeds in. Some people have like little lemon juicers. If you have something like that, it might be a little bit easier, but I don't, so I just went ahead and squeezed it with my hands, but I tried to get every single bit of lemon juice out that I could. So to my wet mixture, I am going to go ahead and add my 2.5 tablespoons full of lemon juice. And here I am just trying to squeeze every little ounce of lemon juice that I can out of these lemons. The more lemon, the better, because, you know, this bread has like blueberries in it, and I just feel that the lemon could get lost in this bread if you don't put enough lemon juice in. So here I am. I'm going to add my 1/4 of a cup of olive oil. Once my olive oil is into my wet ingredients, I'll go ahead and give everything a good stir with my wire whisk. Go ahead and get that all mixed up nicely, and then I am going to go ahead and add the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients. Now, you do not want to overbeat this batter, so personally I would say not to put this in like a stand mixer and just go ahead and do it by hand. I think the more that you mix it, you know, it just might not turn out very well. So it actually ends up looking a little bit like a pancake batter, to be honest. So after I'm done incorporating everything really nicely, I am going to go ahead and add my massive blueberries into my mixture. And with that, you just want to take it kind of easy when you stir those into the batter. You don't want to really go in there too heavy-handed, or you might burst some of those blueberries. So I'm just really easy when I stir mine around. And then I just went ahead and actually, at the suggestion of the actual recipe, I did go ahead and put my batter into the fridge for about an hour and a half before I baked it, so that the lemon and blueberries all kind of melted very nicely together. So here in my bowl, I'm getting started on the actual glaze part, which honestly was more like a frosting. I put the zest of some lemon into a bowl, and then I put a tablespoonful of lemon juice. I probably ended up adding a little bit more lemon juice because, let's be honest, I wanted it to taste very lemony. So to my bowl, I added 4 ounces of softened Philadelphia cream cheese. So then I added my tablespoon of softened butter to the dish as well. I do not believe that I showed it on here, but the recipe does call for 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, so go ahead and add that into your frosting as well, and 1/3 cup of that monk fruit confectioner's sugar again. I did go ahead and give that a nice stir, and I went ahead and put it back into the refrigerator to get cold. This really is more like a frosting than a glaze, like the recipe says. I suppose if you poured it on the bread when it's really hot, it would be more like a glaze. But anywho, I did go ahead and butter a bread pan, and I'm going to go ahead and get my batter into that pan. I'm going to pop it into the oven at 350 degrees, and mine ended up cooking for close to an hour. So keep that in mind. It might take about 55 minutes, an hour or so. This is what it ended up looking like. Turned out really well. It does tell you to cover it with foil toward the end. I had no foil, but it still turned out very well. I went ahead and took it out of the pan once it cooled. The bottom of it stuck just a tiny bit in a couple little places, but nothing major, so it came out pretty well. You could put parchment paper in there to avoid that if you want. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and get this all iced up. It was not perfection by any means. I mean, I've baked a lot in my life, and I've been very much a perfectionist about my icing, but this wasn't, but that's okay. So I went ahead and got that sliced up, and telling you, those blueberries, they were huge. Everything was so moist and good. The lemon with the blueberry, just something about that combination together was wonderful. I really highly suggest making this if you can. I know this really isn't like a fall recipe. It's more kind of like a summery spring recipe, but boy, oh boy, did it hit the spot for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more. Catch you later. Bye.